Hello and welcome to Real Talk, your guide to real estate success. And here are your hosts, Brian Woodward and Lauren Burpo.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of Real Talk. I'm so excited to share this with you all. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 special panelists that are going to be talking to you in today's video. So we had our top producer panel. It went wonderfully. We went over such a great array of topics. We've got Amber Munnick, we've got Sarah Manuel, and we've also got Tanya Jarvis, all top producers in their area. Definitely keep watching. You're going to learn a lot of tips and tricks, successes that have worked for them, things that they learned didn't really work so well for them. And so it's really just a wonderful way to see what you can add to your business. And I'm so excited for you to watch. So I'll quit talking and I'll see you all at the end. Thanks and enjoy the video. See ya.
Thank you everybody for coming this morning. I'm going to introduce our panelists. We have Tanya Jarvis from Wasso. Amber Munnick from Springfield. Sarah Manuel from Stillwater. But thank you guys for driving down here, flying down here, because I know, and especially just giving us, because it's going to take your whole day, obviously. So thank you so much for, giving the day, your whole day for us to be able to learn some stuff. So anyway, well, you guys have been to this before, if you have a question, let's just ask it. It's real informal. It's real just, if you got a question, ask them. You don't have to wait or, just keep asking and everything. That's usually last year. I don't think I even got through 3 questions because everybody just started asking you for questions. So anyway, so we'll let you guys go one by one and just kind of introduce yourself, how long you've been in the business, market you work, if you have a team, how many are on them, and then what your production was last year. So,
You're looking at me.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. Tanya Jarvis from Wasso. I work for Remax Results there, and I manage the Summit Real Estate Group. We have 8 people on our team, 1 male. So go ahead. He says there's way too much estrogen on that team, so he's at a true disadvantage. Our team production last year, we started our team last February, so we're at our very first year, and we were at 30.2 million for our first 11 months of a team together. My production was a third of that, so I'm still selling real estate. My market is the Tulsa Metro, or our team's market is Tulsa Metro. I typically like to stay around Tulsa and all the rural areas. Like I was telling them last night, I'm the mobile home queen, and I know all it takes to sell a mobile home. And there are a lot of those out there. What else did you know? Our team did 128 deals last year. I had 40 of those.
How long you been in the business?
8 years. I'm coming up on finishing my 8th year in the business. Yeah.
What about you, Amber?
Amber Munnick from Southwest Missouri. So I have Springfield, Branson, Rogersville, all the suburbs around there. I'm going into my 3rd year, so I'm representing all the newbies, which is fun. And then I have a team, but it's just Lexus and I. We keep it small, which I love. So it's like having a sister with me all the time. We did just about 12 million last year. We were just under 12 million. So
That's just your 3rd year?
yeah. So yeah, it was fun. It was a good year.
And for you guys in my office, so first thing you did when you got in business was pretty much hire Wayne Frederick.
Hired Wayne right away. Talked to him first thing this morning. He messaged me.
Yeah, she office is she was telling us last night, 5 feet away from Wayne. Lots of times she has to be
Yes.
would you shut up? I can hear him through the wall.
I do. I hear him through the thin walls in our office, and I'm like, Wayne, zip it. I can hear you. And then when he walks down to the stairs that are right by my office, it's like, boom, boom. I'm like, okay, the walls are shaking, like we're gonna fall through. It's funny. He just has the big presence, and we're super blessed to have him so close to us.
Right, for sure. So,
Yeah.
what about you, Sarah?
Started November 2020, so still definitely a newbie, just like you. Yay! I work in Payne County, Noble County, and a little bit into Creek County. That's about as far that direction as I'd like to go. But I do a lot of rural as well. So when you said, mobile home, I don't work primarily with mobile homes, but I get it. Rural country. I go out there quite a bit. I work primarily with heroes or like first responders, veterans, those types of things. I kind of hone in on that market quite a bit. It's just me. I don't have a team. So it's just me kind of hitting the pavement every day under awesome direction of Beth and Wayne as well. And my production for last year was a little over 5.3 million.
Nice.
So
You started right, well, both y'all kind of started right in the middle of COVID time.
yeah, it's every year's a different market, which has
Yes.
been real fun. I love it. It's just kind of fun because every year you're like, okay, what do I get to play today?
Yes.
Like, here we go.
Exactly.
We're riding the real estate roller coaster. It's fun.
It is fun.
For sure. Okay, so I'll just go through the questions here. So looking back on it, what is the one thing you wish you had done sooner in your business? And you guys can just kind of go whoever wants to go. So
I don't want to age myself, but I wish I had started sooner. I started in my early 40s. I'm still in my 40s, just an FYI. I'm pushing it, but I'm still in my 40s. The flexibility, the ability to manage my own business, the ability to invest in my future, my kids' future. I wish I had done that a lot sooner than working an 8 to 5.
'cause you were in HR before.
I was an HR manager before that, so the corporate world is not for me. I can't imagine going back to an 8 to 5 position. Although, it was 40 hours a week, which is your next question, so I won't ruin your next question. But I do wish I had started a little bit sooner when I had a lot more patience, was younger, and yeah, I wasn't so set in my
She's like, I'm getting older and
But also, it might not have to take, because I can imagine you take control of your client and you lead them
There
through the
is a
process.
level of maturity that's needed, I think, to be able to deal with difficult situations. Sometimes I am the go-to with our office if we have a difficult client that needs to be passed off to another agent. So I get to be the old agent, right? Not
Probably your HR experience helps.
that helps a little bit. Helps a little bit. People are crazy everywhere, so.
Exactly. So anyway, what about one of you guys?
I think I'm the least mature in my office. I'm like the goofy one, but it's fine. I was a stay-at-home mom forever, so like I wouldn't change that for anything. So, and with just being new, I think I started out at a brokerage that I wish I wouldn't have. And so it was just like toxic in there, like the relationships. And so nah. And then I immediately went to another one because I was like, crap, like what am I going to do? And so I didn't like research. I wish I would have researched more when I was picking a brokerage. So I messed up on that. Because when I came to Remax and it was just a different environment, I was like, man, I wish I would have been here from day one. So I would just say I wish I would have done my research on picking a brokerage before I just jumped all in, but
I hear that a lot from people too. So
yeah.
I don't know why people don't though. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be your career.
Well, I had a friend that worked at the first
So
one.
that, yeah, that's what most
And
people
so the
think.
broker just called me and she was like, hey, you're coming to work for me. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And then I was like, oh gosh, I did not last long either. I was like, this is not for me. I'm way too blunt. I did not deal with drama.
And you're at the House of Brokers now, so which is actually the brokerage Wayne used to be the broker over. And there's a lot of seasoned people, older.
Oh, I
They've been in it a long
literally
time.
work with the OGs in the industry in our area. They have been there forever, but like I can go to them for questions anytime I want. I can call them whenever I want. And then they'll come to me for like new ideas that they don't have. And so it's like a really good balance in our office. And I just feel really blessed that I have them that are right there, if I need anything or they're amazing. We have a really good.
And that's rare sometimes with seasoned agents, that they'll actually take the time to help.
Yeah.
some days, so.
Oh, they do.
I think a lot of people look at splits and
Mhm.
office fees, and they don't really research and interview the brokerage that they go to. They're just worried about the split. You and I have been at one of those brokerages, right, that we didn't care for and we moved out of. I've actually worked for 2 different brokerages before Remax, and I can't see myself from hitting the R4 level down, like the very top level down. I can't imagine seeing myself at another brokerage. And I'm an OG, so.
Yeah, because you've been to almost every R4 since you've been.
I have been to every R4 since I started real estate with Remax. So if you haven't gone or you haven't seen that level of excitement that they put into their agents, it is massive compared to some of the other brokerages. So that little bit of money you might save on an office fee or the split, whatever that looks like, you don't get that sharing of ideas and helping and the other agents wanting to help you. That was my experience in the other brokerages. If you were a single agent, you weren't asking anybody for help. You were trying to figure it out all on your own.
Right.
Yeah, and I think Remax does it collaborative all the time, even between offices. I mean, you've got 3 agents from 3 different Remax offices, right? I mean, it's a share of abundance of information.
Yeah,
And
for
that's
sure.
something that Remax does that the other ones did not do.
That's exactly what I talk about. And I've been having coffee with a lot of prospective realtors, right? Everybody who's trying to see if they want to break into the industry. That's the number one thing. I say, go interview all of these different offices, first thing. And then number 2, see where you can align with, because one, training goes a long ways. And even if you're having, like you said, putting that dollar amount down, it's worth my monthly fee if I know that I'm going to be able to sit down once a week with Beth and she's going to go through all these contracts with me. So when I'm out and working with a client, I don't even have to read my contract because I know what that says. You tell me what that line is, because that's ingrained in you and that's ingrained in your culture. And then when I'm lost in an inspection and I don't know what to do, I definitely can call anybody in the office and pick it up. And you don't get that in a lot of, when I was interviewing, I remember going and sitting in one office and everybody's running around like the world is on fire. And I'm like, what is happening? And she's like, yeah, it's just like this every day. Like everybody's just always up in arms and acting like it's just chaotic. And I'm like, but why? Why don't we have systems in place? And then I sit down at Remax and it's just like a breath of fresh air. I'm like, oh, this is how it's supposed to function. This is so nice. It's a big difference.
Well, in your short time in the business, what would you be different from the beginning?
Shadow more. That's one thing with the new clients that I've been trying to say is, come to this inspection with me. Let me show you what I do during an inspection. Let me show you the things that I'm asking my inspector. An appraiser, this is how I talk to my appraisers when we're going through this issue. Or an open house. What do you do at an open house? I was super grateful. My first open house, I got to sell, flipped it, sold their house, and it was actually Beth's listing that she let me hold open. But I was flying by the seat of my pants. I had probably 20 people come in, and I'm sitting there scratching my legs, like, what do I do? Here we go. So I wish I kind of would have taken the time. But in that market, we didn't have open houses very often.
Right.
I mean, 2020 was just kind of everybody just jump in and hold on. So, at that time, we didn't really get that opportunity. But that's something that I am trying to do with kind of some of our new new agents jumping in, is like, just come along with me. If you're able to, that's great. Just so that way they can kind of see what do you actually do versus just knowing all the backside materials.
I was telling you that last night about we have high schoolers that come in and like, I want to see what it's like. And I'm like, I always give them like the hard stuff too, because I think they have this,
Glamorous.
yes, they're like, it's so great, you make all this money and you get to make your own schedule. And it's like, you're funny, like that's not really the case. Like, let's have a reality check here. Because I think especially new agents coming in, like, we have like a different view of how you think it's going to be. So I think that job shadowing in general is just a great idea.
Probably before you ever take the test.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah, for sure.
It would probably weed out people quicker.
We know this isn't selling sunset, right? I mean, it's just not. It's not. It isn't.
That's why you see on social media.
It is. It is so unrealistic. You're right.
So here's the next question. How many hours per week are you working?
I thought this question was quite funny.
Me too.
Because I'm like, well, it depends on the week, first of all. And then it's like, do we really ever have time off? Like, our phones are constantly ringing. We're getting text messages. We're getting emails. So I found that question quite tricky. So that's a tough deal.
All the time.
Yeah.
There's 168 hours, right? I think I'm probably, how many do you sleep a day?
6,
4.
5.
Yeah, 6 a day. That's again, that's one of the disadvantages in this position or this job is that you feel like you have to be on call all the time. And even someone who's been in the business for 8 years, it's still an issue for me to not answer my phone. The outage today I had a nervous breakdown. I'm like, oh my God, all these $10 million buyers are gonna call me today, right? And it's not gonna happen, but just that one time my phone is not working, but Brooks is gonna call and wanna buy a mobile home somewhere, right? So, he had it also, by the way. I have met Garth Brooks twice. He cut me off in the McDonald's once.
Way to go,
And, you know, I was like, son of a, and then I could see him lean out, and I'm like, oh my God, it's Garth Brooks at McDonald's.
Did he buy you breakfast?
He did not. And then I saw him in a bowling alley in Owasso, so it was pretty cool. What was I saying? The outage drove me crazy. The hours, I mean, it's, you know, I think in business, it's what you put into it and how much time you want to put into it. We don't take vacations. It sucks. I take my laptop on vacation. I've sold a number of homes on vacation, so I feel like saying I have to take a vacation. You don't sell houses is not true, because you do. But one of my regrets is that I don't cut out enough personal time. Always got that phone. The phone's always attached. It's a balancing act. You've got to find it. I don't have the advice for you to tell you how to do it because I suck at it. I work all the time.
That was something that Wayne talked to me about in the beginning. He was like, family's family, don't miss your kids' stuff. Like, if that's the right client for you, they'll wait. You say, hey, my kid's got a tennis match. Okay, I'm free after this time. And they'll move around that typically. And so it's just, there's no amount of money you can make that can replace the time with your husband, your kids, you know, your parents. There's no amount of money you can make that is worth it, in my opinion. I mean, I just lost a son in July, like missing one of his tennis matches. I'm like, what was I thinking? You know, I can't get that back. And that's just life. So there's no amount of time you can take away from your family. It's not worth it.
You have what's your hours? What do you think? You got 4 girls.
So I do. I have 4 kids and now 4 dogs, and we live on acreage, and we're about to get 4 goats. So 4 is our number, evidently. So when I interviewed with Beth several times, I think we spent probably 2 hours just talking about part-time versus full-time, and I was like, but I can't work full-time, like I've got all these kids, and I've actually had one since then, and what do I, and she's like, no, that's not how this world works, like you don't have this. And so I've had to kind of go in it a little bit different because I have sitters and I have very specific times that I'm available this time and this time, and if you call me between this time and this time, you're going to hear a kid screaming in the background with the dog chasing them, like that's going to happen. And so my life has been a little bit different. I try to only do 30 hours. That's kind of my goal. That's my set time, right? When I have sitters or I know I'm going to have help at the house.
So having the sitters almost make you block your time.
They do. I'm completely time blocked. Now, weekends are a little different. So I'm also married to a first responder. So weekends aren't always my own. He's on call 24/7. So sometimes I might be leaving for a showing and he's like, gotta go, love you, peace, sorry. And that does happen. But for the most part, if I'm going to be doing showings, I have to rearrange for everything. So I really try to stick with that 30 hours. I'm very specific on, I like to do showings during this time and this time because I'm not going to get phone calls from other people. Now my clients always call, it never fails. Kiddo pickup. I love to pick up my kids. That's one of my favorite things, right? Because you hear all the juicy details right after school. And so
They talk to you.
They will talk to you if you have snacks. But it never fails. I'm going to get a phone call. I'm pulling in and I'm getting out of my car and they're like, hey, we don't like this inspection. And then they want to go and start yelling or whatever it is. And so here we go, right? And I'm like, okay. I'm picking up my kid, you know, and I'm very honest. I'm picking up my kid. Can I call you in 15 minutes? It's going to take me 15 minutes to get to my sitter, and then I'm all yours. And most of the time, it gives them a little bit of time to cool off before they start yelling at me again. I'm very specific on, these are my times, this is when I'm available. I can show you between 9:45 and 11:45 in the morning on these 2 days, or I can show you between this time and this time. And then that also affects how I actually operate. So like, I actually just changed this within the last month. One of my colleagues helped me kind of work out a plan of like, this day is your marketing day, and you work on marketing all day, and you plan it out for the rest of your month. And that's what I do on my planner, and this is what I'm posting, and this is how I'm doing things, because otherwise it's not gonna happen.
Right.
It's just not gonna happen. So I've had to be very specific on how I operate my business. It's very different.
If you have listened to, has anyone seen Q talk Quintavious? I just heard him recently and have switched how I do my day because I'm a time blocker too.
Yeah.
I just block most of my day because I don't have any kids, right? So I have more time. But the way he does his business is he just lists what he needs to do that day, right? Because if you time blocked and you didn't do that from 11 to 12, now you feel like you failed, right? Because you didn't knock it out. So he makes a list of what he wants to accomplish that day, and however long it takes or whatever time frame, as long as it gets done that day, you've achieved it. And so I've completely switched around how I do that, because the phone rings, the dogs throw up. I mean, there's always something, right? And so, and if I can't meet that 11 to 12, now I feel some anxiety, and now I'm stressed, and now I failed, and I didn't get it done. People already make us feel like we fail all the time in their eyes. So I don't want to set myself up for that. So I started doing what Q did. I write a list of what I'm going to do that day. I put it on the notes on my phone, and I just knock it out. And then my day is done. And it has seriously helped that anxiety and stress of time blocking. It just doesn't work for me anymore to time block. As long as I list out what I want to knock out that day, knock it out, and then the next day starts.
Well, Q has a point system too.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know some of you guys remember what it is.
Too much stuff with his points.
Yeah,
Like,
you remember
I can't
y'all remember his point
Yeah.
system?
count. So it's so many points.
Yeah,
It's
four.
a listing of
Do you remember
points.
how?
I forget it. I think it's like if you get a listing, I think it's 4 points.
Yeah.
So your goal that day is to get
Yeah.
like 8 points.
If you show a buyer a house, it's like half a point. But like if you show like multiple houses to the same person, then it's only half a point.
Right.
If you write a contract, I think that's 1 point. And so basically, like you want to get to 4 points every day.
Yeah.
And once he hits 4 points, like he'll
He's done.
he'll shut the computer and go home.
Do you get a gift? Like, do you get a certain process? That's what I'm thinking.
Like, I need to know, if I'm competing right now, like, I need to know what I'm getting.
You just get off earlier.
Okay, fair enough, that's a gift.
One thing that he does is like when he's done, when he hits his goal for the day, he leaves, and like he leaves his computer and stuff at the office, so he cannot work when he goes home.
He's a whole
So,
different person.
Yeah.
So he shuts it off completely.
He sounds like Wayne.
He's an angel.
Like,
Yeah,
literally,
he's
he
pretty
sounds like Wayne.
amazing. Well, he's on Survivor,
Yeah. that's
right?
true.
Which I guess he would have already filmed it.
He
'Cause he's gonna
has
speak at
filmed,
R4.
He has filmed it, you're right, but he won't tell us what happened, so he just says watch
He's
it.
probably not allowed
He's
to
not
tell
allowed
you.
to, but
Yeah.
he seems awfully happy, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, he's a guy that I think his first year sold 100 homes or something, but so
That's a lot.
he knew the manager of the grocery store there in his community or whatever, so he would actually go in the afternoon for a couple hours and bag people's groceries, and just to meet people. You know, when he was brand new in the business, because he's like, I didn't know, he had been gone for a while to college, came back, he thought this is gonna be a great way to meet people. He would literally bag their groceries, take it to the car and be like, oh, by the way.
That's the epitome of being a hustler.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. So, let's see what the next question is. Where does the majority of your business come from?
So I started like normal people do, and I bought leads, right? I think that's how most of this business starts. We get on Zillow, we pay them lots of money for leads, which worked great for me. I mean, my first couple of years of business, that's where most of my business came from. But you've got to answer the phone and you've got to work, right? So it's really successful if you work it. About year 4, that flipped, and now most of my business is referrals and repeat business. Because you build those relationships with people, they had a good transaction with you, now they're referring you to family, or now they're revisiting and reselling. A lot of these COVID people are going to be reselling soon. And so all of that business came back. So probably 95% of my business now is referrals and repeat business.
Yeah, they say 65% of the people that bought a house during COVID do not like their house.
They didn't have time to think.
No, they didn't, did
Or
they?
they didn't even
Well, they
look at it.
Maybe they
Yeah.
have COVID brain too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a thing? That wasn't.
Yeah, true.
COVID brain, I don't know.
So what about you? What about you, Sarah? Where's most of your business come
So
from?
most of my business is a little different. I have never really bought into Zillow. I never had to do any of that. So previous life, I was very active into the community. A lot of people already knew me, and I had a giant SOI right out of the bat. I had a great response when I sent out information of, hey, I'm joining this. Would you be interested in being in my database? And I had a huge response. So
So one of the first things you did is you gathered everybody you knew,
Uh-huh.
put them on a list, and what did you send them the
I
first
sent out
time?
an awesome letter that Beth helped me with that said, hey, I'm new to the business. I'm trying to build up my network. Would you be okay? Like, here's a survey basically without, your address, phone number, email, birthdays, anniversaries, hobbies. Is there a business I can help you promote? And things like that. And I gathered a huge referral network right there. And so they get all of my stuff monthly, sometimes weekly. It just depends on how frequently I.
So they had to
reach out.
fill that out and mail it back to you?
Yep, and mail it back to
So
me.
did you
And I
include
think,
like a postage where they
a
could send it back?
prepaid envelope with it that went in it, and it was already addressed and everything. And I think, oh gosh, I had a huge return. I can't even remember what my number was, but it was, I don't know, like over 50%, I want to say.
Well, you think about it, they took the time to fill all that out.
Right.
Those are your people.
Well, and-
Did you offer any incentive for them to bring it back? or
I
just-
did.
Okay.
I offered a gift card.
Right, okay.
And so I did a gift card live Facebook drawing, and I happened to be somebody in my neighborhood who got that, and that I worked with really closely. He was actually the president of the board that I was previously on. So that was great, easy. And then I sent out another letter. Hey, just in case you got busy, forgot to do this, can you, I just want to give you another opportunity. And I sent out another gift card as well with that to 2 different types of restaurants.
So what's some things you do on social media you think that's driving you some business?
We don't, I hired a marketing team, so I have a great, I don't know, 2 girls that just
They're
run
kind of
the
doing
show.
all your social
They
media
do
stuff.
everything, yeah. We do videos and houses that we're listing or, ours isn't like your typical graphic that everybody's doing and they're talking about all the same things. Ours is more creative.
Very lifestyle.
Yes, and it pulls people in. So I just feel like ours is different and it kind of gives you a first impression of who we are as people because it is a very personal thing. And so they get to kind of see us, how goofy we are, we're serious when we have to be, but we like to have fun and we like to make it a personal thing. So.
Well, and then your team partner, basically James,
Yep.
he does a lot of,
We do a lot of stuff.
he actually goes around the world,
He
doesn't
does.
he?
And teaches about doing video marketing. Video marketing is huge. Our social media is something that adds value, right? In the beginning, we started posting, and we have 8 team members, so when we're in a busy month, we're posting graphics almost every day, every other hour of new listing, we're under contract, and it just got too inundated where I'm sure people are looking at it going, oh, okay, good, another house, no one cares, right? So we changed that, we stopped doing that, we changed what we were doing at providing value on our social media. So we'll post something about real estate, but then I just posted a video about filing your homestead exemption. Lots of people don't know that they need to do that, right? We send out letters. We actually send out letters to the buyers of our listings with a disclaimer that we're not trying to take their business, but we're almost positive that their agent is not telling them that they should file for homestead. So we send a letter to our previous listings, to those buyers, saying make sure you file your homestead. But on social media, we're trying to change where it's not just, I sold a house, we got a new listing.
Right.
Just the same repetitive stuff over and over. People lose interest and don't want to keep looking at your stuff.
So Amber, y'all are doing you guys are going into the house, you guys are kind of giving a tour of the house.
Yes.
you know, which Tom Ferry talks about a lot. So like, you know, look at how many people watch HGTV just to watch people go show homes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, if you're doing videos, you know, he's like, it should be more touring the home,
Right.
you know, than just listed with a picture or whatever, you know.
Right.
I definitely think you have to do more than a slideshow of your photos,
Right,
right? I mean, those are most of, that's what CapCut does, although it adds music, I do like CapCut because it's kind of fun. But yeah, something different that
Canva,
actually
everybody
tours, yeah, Canva is another big one. Something different than what everybody else is doing for
Did
sure.
James did he have a video one time go pretty viral or something like?
James does a
Seems
lot
like
of
back in the
stupid
day,
things.
he had that, yeah, like real funny, like he gets real funny.
Like he licked mayonnaise off the floor or something for $5 or something. I mean, it was something really stupid.
I'm all about a good joke.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's he does his thing. But we also, we talked a little bit about this last night, because I'm finding not a lot of people do it, but I post my listings on Facebook Marketplace. Me too. I get a lot of people off the Facebook Marketplace, and it's so easy to post it. I mean, it doesn't take you very long to put it out there. Just be ready for your phone to ding a million times. And then to just ask you, hello, is this still available? Hello, is this still available? Will you owner finance?
Yeah.
Well, can we rent?
Can we rent it?
It doesn't matter how much information you put in there, you're still gonna get yahoos that don't pay attention, right? But I have gotten a lot of leads that maybe won't turn into anything yet, but they're still building my database off of Facebook Marketplace. It's free. Post your pictures, you can post a video. So if you wanted to do a short tour video or even a little CapCut short piece of a CapCut video where you're just doing the pictures, you know, flipping, you can add videos now to Facebook Marketplace.
So when one of those people call your Facebook Marketplace, you have a good conversation with them,
Yeah.
whether maybe they're not gonna buy that house, but you have a good conversation. So you stick them in your KV core
I
after
do,
that?
yeah. I stick them in KV Core, I add them as a hashtag Facebook Marketplace lead, so I know where they come from.
Right.
And then they get, you know, the same bombardment of emails that everybody else does.
Right. So you're doing yours on Facebook
I'm
Marketplace.
doing Facebook Marketplace. I do video tours as well. I like to do my favorite feature of the house. I think that's my favorite thing is this is what I love about it. This is what makes it feel homey, or this is what makes this house unique, or this is the cool neighborhood style. I just recently had a senior specific living house that another agent couldn't sell for a very long time, and so they switched agents, and I sold it within a week. Well, it's not that hard if you'll just highlight the features of the house, right? You just kind of have to take each house individually, but I think that Facebook and also social media, Instagram, it's a huge network.
So on Facebook Marketplace, you're putting your videos?
I put my videos on Google, I put them on Facebook, I do Instagram as well. I will put it like in the comments. Sometimes I'll go back and put like my little tour on the comments in Facebook Marketplace, because I feel like sometimes they go through and you want to read the comments and see what other people are saying about it. But you do, you're going to get all these little yahoos. I love that you put in that. Little yahoos that are going to message you, but it's a great conversation starter, and a lot of them are looking for rentals. But eventually, if you can explain to them the reason why they should purchase over rental, I have turned several into great. They might not have great credit, but I sell them with a lender, and now we have a checklist, and then in 6 months they're going to be able to buy.
Right,
instead
get a
of
phone
renting.
together.
We have done a lot of work with that with several renters within the last year.
Never did Facebook. Now, back when Craigslist first was we
Sure.
tried that for a little bit, but it was the same way. You get so many
Yeah.
crazy calls. We kind of quit, but I think you want to get the phone to ring, and you can have a great conversation with somebody.
So I'm on a 1, 2, 3 plan. There you go.
But you get, even on just your sign, some of your sign calls or other internet stuff, you get goofy calls about it.
Sure. I mean, even Zillow, I mean, you're paying for Zillow leads, you get people
Yeah.
who, you know, don't have a clue.
Yeah, well, they own the finance,
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
and stuff, so anyway. What have you learned that you didn't expect when you got into the business?
Not everybody knows what they're doing.
By who?
Like buyers
Who's
and sellers,
everybody?
you have to like assume that like they have no idea, like they've never done anything in their lives. And that might sound rude. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's just factual. So I came up with these buyer and seller guides that we hand out to people. And it's literally like a checklist of things that you do through the entire process. And I'm telling you, it's life-changing. Like, people appreciate it. They feel like they're like more involved and they know what they're doing.
When are they getting that? Like, when are you giving
We
that?
usually give it to them like early, like right in the beginning. Like when you're explaining to them what you're gonna do, if they're gonna hire you for a listing, this is why you should hire me for a listing. You know, this is what I'm gonna do for you.
So if
I
you
just
meet
made these on
somebody,
my own.
if you're meeting somebody at a Zillow showing, you would hand them one.
Yeah, you take it with you. So it's like, I don't know, it's really great.
No, those are really
I
nice.
designed
You
these
spent
on
some money on
Canva.
those.
No, I didn't. I designed these myself on Canva.
Really?
Yeah,
And then just, where'd you get them? Did you have a print? I guess you had a printer somewhere to print them all for you.
yeah, I had a printing company print them off. It's got literally all the details. We have some testimonials.
So you're kind of replacing your business card with that,
Oh,
more or less.
sir. I have the coolest business card. It is metal, it is a bottle opener. Nobody's throwing this bad boy away. They are keeping it. They're keeping it in their wallets when they're at the lake or like, you know, at the bar. I don't know.
I don't know that I've ever seen a business card with a bottle opener on it.
Y'all, it's like kind of heavy, but it's so worth it. Everybody comments on my business cards, so I brought several. You need a bottle opener. You're welcome. But I just feel like you have to come up with unique things that are gonna like set you apart. Nobody's throwing this away. Nobody's throwing this away. And if I give them like a paper card, like no offense, they're gonna throw it away at some point. They're gonna lose it in transition. You're not losing the bottle opener. It's just not happening.
Well, back to your folders there. So you, I mean, how many did you have printed at one time? I mean, obviously, I mean, those are really, really nice.
I had
know you
100
designed them, but those
Yeah,
are really
I had
nice.
100 printed at a time for each
100
of
at a
us.
time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and then also, you can send these out to like expired listings and be like, just stick a note in them and say, sorry, your house didn't sell. I would love to help you. And just send the book with them. And then shows them, yeah, it just shows them what we can do for them, what maybe sets us
So do you
apart
do
from
ever
whoever
expired, or
listed
y'all
them.
kind of just have certain
We
ones?
try to catch them as soon as they come out. If, you know, I love your mobile homes, but like sometimes I don't want to deal with that. Like it's not.
Oh, there's money in mobile homes, lady.
Like, there's, okay, well, we're.
But you guys do pretty rural too.
Yeah, it's different. But we don't have a lot of like those like in the bigger. So it's just in.
Well, all the
We have a lot
Ozark
of
King
meth
buildings.
in our
we go
area.
home.
Oh, we've got that too. Don't try to take our meth. We've got that.
You got more mess than you got.
I'm scared. So, sort of kidding, sort of no. But yeah, you just send them out with a little sticky note. You don't even have to like go into like a big letter or anything. Just
So do you send them to every expired, or you kind
No,
of
you
pretty
just-
picky of
you
which
just try
ones
to
you want?
pre-pick them.
Gotcha.
And you kind of see like what neighborhoods they are, price points that are going well. You know, if you're like $200,000, $250,000, those are good price points, and there's a lot of people looking. If you market that bad boy right, you can sell it. Just like you were saying, it's all about how you market it. So,
No, those are awesome, so.
We do
so I brought some for anybody that. Well, I know you're coming out now because I talk like no.
Listen,
Can I pass those around, let everybody?
Yeah.
so we do something a little different. We do have a buyer and seller guide that we hand out, that we have pockets, you know, we put the stuff in when we show.
Oh,
We
yeah.
also
Awesome.
do, anybody use Bonbon?
I have in the past.
Okay, so our office, what we find, and I have a shirt that says embrace the suck, because you know that people suck. That's what I've learned, right, is people suck in real estate sometimes. And so no matter what sort of conversation you have with them, no matter what book you hand them, they will swear you don't tell them things, right? You didn't tell them that, you didn't have that discussion with them. So we actually do a series of Bonbon videos to buyers and sellers. There's 5 of each. So the buyer gets the initial, hey, we just met, we're gonna set up a house search for you. These are the things you need to be doing, talks about pre-approval. And then we also do one for the sellers, and we make the sellers acknowledge that they have read this piece, and they have read this piece, and
So-
they have read this piece.
Back to the buyers real
Yeah.
quick. So when do you send that? Like when's the, when do you start sending the 5
So we've
videos?
met, they've called Zillow, they've called to see a house. I'm fully about, I need to get in front of them.
So if
That's
you
my
showed them a
first.
house
I've
or even
taken-
before,
I've
after you
met
talked to
them.
them?
Right, we've met, and I know they're not working with their sister who's an agent at this point, right? So if they have a chance, then I will shoot them that initial video. And that's me talking, going, I can't wait to work with you.
So basically, if you had a conversation with
Yeah.
them, you didn't have to show them a house, you just had a
Shoot
good
them a
conversation.
video.
You
As long
know,
as I have a contact. If I got their email, I shoot them that first video.
Okay.
It tracks that they have opened it or read it, right? The same thing with sellers. It tracks that they've opened it when the seller says, you didn't tell me that you were gonna put a key box on, or you didn't tell me that I didn't need to be here for the appraisal, or that I had to leave during inspections. You didn't tell me all of those things. I did in the video. You acknowledged it, and I know that.
how do you
watched
get
it.
them to acknowledge that they watch the video?
Click, click, click. It's
They
a-
have to click.
It's a Google form that just automatically does that for them. It talks about keeping their house broom swept. It talks about don't lock yourself out of your garage, right? That's one of the big ones. You know, how many times you get a call that says, hey, they've locked the garage door, right? And I can't get in my house. It talks about the security system, right? Like if you've got a security system and I don't have the code, can you turn that off before the showing is there, right? So I'm not getting.
Police aren't coming?
Yes, I've actually had that where the
Oh my
people
gosh.
just the sellers let the alarm go off because they were mad and the police showed up as I was standing there with my buyers. Yes, lots of people suck.
So sellers get 5 and buyers get
They
5.
do, so it's we're looking at houses, hey, we're under contract, right, I have a little sign, we said yes to the address, we celebrate, woo-hoo. And here's what's next, we're gonna turn in earnest money, you need to make sure you have money in the bank, right, we don't wanna be
Right.
embarrassed that your check bounces.
It's almost like a buyer's consultation.
But it's video,
Just video.
it's a follow-up, because when you have your initial buyer's consultation, their heads are doing this, right? Because we're talking it like we are now, where it's bam, 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 because we talk it all day, right? We can do it in our sleep, and it's just too much information for them in one moment. And then they can go back to the video and watch it 50 times, like, what did they say about earnest money?
No, and I like that you make them
Acknowledge.
click to know they.
I mean,
that
we
they
make
did
them
watch
sign
it.
1,000 pieces of paper to buy a
Right.
house,
They don't
right?
read anything.
Right, how many times do you say you're gonna take the house as it currently is? They sign it 3 different times at closing, like you're accepting it in the condition it's in, and they get home and go, hey, I'm pissed about this, right? And you signed that you're taking the house, so.
And they're calling to complain to you.
And they're mad at me, right? So it takes a lot of the liability off of us to go, you acknowledged that you've read it, you have this video, I see that you've watched it 72 times, so at what point is it no longer my fault?
What, do you have, I guess you
I
have.
do, yeah, so I do very similar things. These are just some that I just printed off at the office. real quick.
So you have a buyer
But
packet
yep,
and
I
a
do. I do
seller?
buyer packet, seller packet, and with buyers, it's immediately. When we do a buyer consultation, I might show you a house real quick without doing one, but other than that, we're gonna sit down, and we're gonna have a real good chit chat. Because
So you're gonna show them, so you're gonna show them one house maybe?
I might show them one house. Other than that, we're gonna have a sit down about what your responsibilities are and what my responsibilities are, and if we're gonna be able to work this out, because I don't have a lot of time. And so I've learned really on in my business, I wasted a lot of time on on excitement of, oh, I got a new buyer lead, and let's go show all these houses, and then, oh, your aunt came to town,
my
and now
sister's
you're
a
not
realtor.
using me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens when they're like, well, we're too busy to meet? But we'd
Well,
really like to go look at this house Saturday.
Oh, Saturday, that's great. Let's meet at my office 30 minutes before that. We're gonna sit down and we'll go through everything. We'll go through and I'll present maybe a couple extra houses that maybe you might wanna go look at as well. And then we'll go, and then you can follow me to the house.
Nice.
And it's simple as that. I rarely ever have any issues, and I have weeded out a lot of I'm not ready to buys at that initial consultation, to where I could have shown them 5 houses and spent a lot of time that I don't have, showing them that. So I love buyer consultations, and that's something I would really do wish I would have started at the beginning of my business. I was really too nervous to say, whoa, 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 let's not go look at this house right now. Let's talk first, because I was afraid that I was going to offend them, turn them off. And then I just learned, oh, it makes you look a little bit more professional.
I think that's what most people can't get through their head is that they want to be led. Like,
Yep.
you know, and you think you're going to upset them, but man, they appreciate you took the time to explain the process. 'Cause, I mean, they hear me gripe about this all the time because I'm like, this is the stupidest industry in the world.
Hey, Brian.
Like, it's crazy.
And Sarah's given me a lot of credit, which, like you all know on the letters, I didn't come up with those letters. You know where those letters came from. But I will also tell you, and you may be talking about this later, but we're starting to deal with buyer brokerage agreements. That young lady has done buyer brokerage agreements from day one and I never have a file from her that she didn't have a buyer brokerage agreement because she knows how to do it, and she's sitting down and doing a buyer consultation, and that's just part of her consultation. And she's like, what's the big deal about getting a buyer brokerage agreement?
Yeah. And my buyers aren't afraid to pay me. I've had several buyers that pay me. Now, even a VA, and we had to work things around, right? Because VAs can't pay by, but they were selling a house, and I'm getting a commission off that house. So the banks agreed. If I get a double commission off that house, I just flip my percentage over to the sell, and I still got paid for the buyer side. And we got a contract on the local offer because they're, there's lots of ways to move it. And so they know that they're going to have to spend money. And so if you kind of take that head on of like, okay, we might go see these houses. They might not pay me. Like, this is what I charge. Are you okay with that? And they agree to it. They're like, oh yeah, we're not paying. Half the time they don't know. We're not paying you. So if you just have those conversations, it's not scary once you get started, and it makes you feel a little bit better and a little bit more confident each time.
So on the VA house they bought, was there just no commission offered or real low commission?
No. So they're VA purchasing, but I'm also selling their house. So they offered me 3%, and it was actually an in-house transaction, but we were going up against another agent, and I was like, okay, I bet our offers are probably pretty identical. And I was like, what if, just fill me out, what if you guys paid for my commission, took that 3% off, so they're not paying that 3% when you're purchasing this house? And I was like, and we asked the lenders if they would approve, and we had to get special permission from our broker and title, for you to pay me on the sale side. I understand they're not closing on the same day. I understand I'm not going to get paid right away. That's okay. But what if we did that? And they were like, sold.
That's
the
so
contract.
creative.
And there's ways to work around the system, right? Especially because I do deal with a lot of VAs who, if we're going to go look at FSBO and that FSBO doesn't want to pay me, I'm not getting paid. So I have to be very honest about those things, because otherwise I'm going to get myself in a pickle.
So you're having that conversation.
Right off the bat. Right off the bat, the very beginning. And if they don't want to do that, if they only want to go, we've talked about this, if they only want to look at houses that are offering what I'm willing to make, then that's fine. And we'll limit to that, so that way they don't get themselves in a bind. But I want to know that, because again, I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time to just deal out free money, right? So yeah,
Have you ever had a buyer just go, no, I don't want to do that, I'll just go find another realtor?
No.
Never?
No, never once. But I've also weeded out a lot of people who are not in a position to buy because they don't have closing costs, they don't have these things, and then we meet with the lender, oh yeah, our credit might not be great, or whatever the case may be, and we put them on a 1, 2, 3 plan, that's what I call them, and let's figure out what we need to do to get your credit in the right spot. Or, okay, you can work some overtime. All right, let's go bring in some overtime money to be able to cover this stuff. But we don't, qualify for down payment assistance.
So how far into the, I know you've only been doing it a few years, but how far into the business were you when you were just like, crap, I gotta do this different?
About 1.5 years. Yeah, about 1.5 years. Now, I was always getting all the paperwork signed, but I don't think I was quite as blunt as I am now, because I learned all the ins and outs of you will not get paid if you don't get this taken care of, kind of thing. And now I think it's saved me a lot of heartache now, because if it's going to become an industry standard, I'm already there, right?
Right.
I'm already comfortable with having those conversations. But yeah, about 1.5 years in, I was like, okay, I'm gonna really have to start having these
I think
conversations.
that's most realtors' problem is they just want people out of people.
Yeah.
But yet they don't realize how much the people will appreciate it if you are.
Absolutely.
I think we've got to get away from, I mean, Zillow was a big component when I started, and I went to every single person that called, right, without vetting, without.
just went and showed.
I just went. It's a client. Oh my God, I know another client, right? And now that I've been in it for a while, I vet those people before I even get in my car or even have that conversation, right? Because my sister's a realtor and she's busy this week. She's at the lake, so I thought I'd call you to show me the house. A lot of them don't understand the dynamic between Zillow and realtors as well. So, I mean, that's another video opportunity. And when a Zillow call comes in, it feeds my BombBomb and they immediately get a video that says, hey, I'm Tanya Jarvis with Remax. I want to put a name to a face. This is how Zillow works, right?
So you've got that set up where it just,
They
just goes.
automatically get it.
Could we see it? Like, is there any way?
Yeah,
I mean, like,
Sure.
if you
I
could
can have
email
her
it,
send it
yeah,
to us,
yeah,
yeah,
send it
we
so
can.
that we can.
sure. And it's, it's to make that connection and to explain to them, you clicked a box and here I am, right? This is how this works, but this is who I am. I am an actual real estate agent in the area. I'm going to be showing you houses. This is who I am. I am not, and I don't work for Zillow.
You're not a
Like, take
robot.
that out of your head. I do not work for Zillow as someone who will run around all day and just open doors for whoever. I think that agents have to be able to have the hard conversations because we've got to take the industry back. Everyone thinks that we are awful now, right? We don't know what we're doing. We've got this agreement by our broker now that we're going to ask people to sign. And so you've got to deep dive into the training that Remax is offering you. You've got to know what you're talking to people about. I don't even have to look at my buyer broker or my buyer book or my seller book. I know every piece of information that's in it. I don't even have to open it. So when we're flipping it and I don't have access to it, I can tell you every single thing that I'm telling them in this book. You've got to know your job and build confidence in what you're doing. And you've got to deep dive into the training that Remax gives you to do that. Because you're getting ready to have these very hard conversations with, hey, you're going to have to pay me a commission, right? And you need to be able to show them that you know your stuff.
Mhm.
You know your
You
contract.
gotta earn it. You have to earn
Absolutely,
it.
absolutely. So I would encourage you to start vetting the people you spend your time on, right? Don't go to every single appointment. Are you pre-approved? Are you even working on pre-approval? I'll even go on an appointment if they're not pre-approved yet to have that conversation with them about what a pre-approval looks like, what they need to do, just to be in front of them, because I think face-to-face is where you win people. That's where I win
Oh,
people.
for sure.
Is I need to get in front of them. But hey, are you currently working with a realtor? Well, yeah, my aunt's a realtor and she's on vacation. Well, when she gets back, give her a phone call, right? I'm not showing you a house. And you've got to be able to do that. You're going to spend all this time and gas and energy on people that are not making you money.
How are you guys doing, Amber? Because you guys do a lot of Zillow. I mean,
We
what-
do
what's-
a
where, how are you guys kind of qualifying people or? I mean,
We do a lot on our phone calls, as you know.
right, yeah, because.
Wayne will drill you on your phone calls. And so, we're not as good as you
I'm
guys.
just picky.
Yeah, we're not. We kind of go to a lot of them, but we can tell a lot by our conversations because we do the questionnaire from Wayne. So we kind of know what we're getting into before, and if they're not ready, we can easily be honest with them and guide them along the way.
Right.
But we're not as good as these guys.
So you're but you're doing some pre-qualification over the phone.
Yeah, we just do a lot of ours on the phone because, if they're not really serious about buying, you can read that off of them when you start questioning and things, so.
You can ask very few questions.
And find out real quick, so.
Oh, that's going to get pre-approved after I found the right house.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, but why are we looking at a $400
I love
house
the
if we
video
can
though
afford it
because,
to?
I listen to a lot of Zillow calls and I can hear people say, oh, I'm already working with Alex.
Yeah.
You know,
Awesome, call Alex.
For you guys that don't know, Alex is kind of the
He's
hey, hi, that
he's
answers
the
the
one
phone.
that hands it over, right?
Yeah, we're like, yeah, we're working with Alex.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions for us, just jump right in. Did I already ask you what you feel is the key to success in real estate? So
No,
yeah,
you
I
haven't.
have. So what do you feel is the key to success? To be successful?
I'm ready. Consistency. When I started real estate, I did all the things, right? Open houses, flyers, marketing, just trying to grab a whole, you're just constantly grabbing at all the things. When you go to Art Forward, you go to other trainings, they give you all these fantastic ideas and you write them all down with the intent to do all of the things that they're doing. And you just can't do it, right? Consistently do the things you're good at. I suck at open houses. I hate open houses. I rarely do them. But I have a team now of people who do them, right? So I don't like to do open houses, and I know I suck at them because I have this RBF that they get when they come in the door.
I don't feel like you would suck at it.
I do. I just don't like
I don't
them.
think
and
you're giving yourself credit.
I think
You're already in a bad mood
I
because you're
just,
out
I
there.
hate that I'm spending my 2 hours there
Right.
and maybe one person might walk in, some tire kicker, and I've just spent my 2 hours sitting there. So I just immediately give off the, I really don't want to be here vibe, right? So I'm good at pop-bys and being in front of people. So that's what I'm really good at, is dropping by and socially going, hey, I appreciate you. And so that's where I spend most of my time, is consistently meeting my circle, right? Spending time in front of them, keeping my name in front of them. A lot of times in our office, we have the conversation where one of our girls goes, we just had this, a girl that was in my wedding just listed with someone else and I'm crushed, right? Just because you knew them at one point does not mean they don't know 7 other realtors, right? We assume we're their only friend and we're their only realtor friend, and that's just not true. So I stay consistently in front of my circle. And I'm talking outside of your family, because that's a death threat situation when they list with someone else, right?
Real fun.
Right, but friends, that extended group, you've got to just stay consistent in what you're doing. If neighborhood letters is where your passion is and you're super good at it and you get lots of return on it, man, keep sending those letters out. Keep farming those neighborhoods. If open houses is your bag, do some there's, especially now, everyone's doing open houses, right? So you have lots of opportunity to do that. Cold calling, if that's where you excel, I hate cold calling. But if that's where you excel, consistently stay on the phone and do those things. I think we start to do something, it doesn't immediately give us a return and we give up. You've got to stay on it. That business will come if you will consistently stay in front of people.
What do you think, Amber? What's your what?
Our motto is, our client success is our success. So we look at it like really personal. I want them to feel like they're the most important thing in the world. And really, like, the friendships that you build along the way is key. Like, I still text with my clients, like, hey, how's the new house? What does little Billy think about his new room? Like, what did he do? That kind of thing. But I think your focus, can't be about just making money. I think if your focus is, solely on, I want to make all this money, and it's like, everybody likes to make money, we have to survive, but that can't be your sole focus. Your clients need to be your focus. You want to be able to sleep at night knowing that you did everything that you could to make that as easy for your client as possible. It's the biggest investment they'll probably ever make in their lives for most people. And I think it's just important that we make it as easy and flow as well as we possibly can. Not always possible with some clients, as we know.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want them to have it so smooth and easy that when they're going to do this again, they're calling you because you made their life easy. And they felt important. You didn't just treat them like another client, I see a lot of people do that, and they're just after the money, and they'll get the client, they'll get the contracts, and then they only talk to somebody on their team for the rest of the time. They don't ever talk to that agent again. And that's not personable. People don't like that. I have that a lot. But most of
Yeah, we have
the
that a lot in our market.
the bigger teams typically do that, but that's what I
Where you
was.
don't even know who the heck you're talking about.
They don't.
What's
Who
going
am I
on.
supposed to email this to?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've had people that have been like, oh, our first realtor was so terrible. We found a house, we bought the house, we had never heard from them after we signed the contract. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's terrible.
Send them that homestead email.
Do you think you're finding some of that because, just like, I mean, you use Wayne, so like, the training he did yesterday. What
I
did he
don't watch
yesterday? Well, because it just talks about going really deep with people, so it's like, how did it go last time you sold your house?
Yeah.
How was that experience? And then kind of just go deeper and deeper with them to get them really, if they're telling you, oh my God, it sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Why did it suck? Yeah.
No, 100%, and that's what and a lot of times you barely have to ask that, because they're like vomiting information on you.
Yeah.
And you're like, got it. Check mark, not doing that. Not that I would anyway, but I know what you're looking for. But yeah, see, I get to get yelled at by Wayne in person.
Yeah.
So
That's probably fun.
yeah, it's fun.
What do you think, like your success?
I kind of harping on what you ladies have said, education and relationships, educating your client all the way, making sure that they feel like they're in control of their transaction, they have ownership over that transaction, and then continuing that relationship. Relationships are where you're going to make your business happen, right? And so continuing to make sure that they feel important, not just during that transaction, but after that transaction. A year from now, that person should still know who I am. They should know how many kids, what my kids are doing, just like I should know what their kids are doing. And I've really tried to do that. If I have clients who are doing remodels, I'm constantly messaging like, hey, did the bathroom get finished? Did this happen? Oh, Susie had a basketball game 2 weeks ago. How did that go? Or whatever that
How do you remember how to do all that though?
I keep them in a database. I have a really cool Google sheet.
So every time you talk to them, you're like, just make a little note.
Yeah, a little update on their life, on their kids' interests. Oh, yeah, Mommy liked trains last time we talked to, whatever that looks like. And so I go through before I reach out to them, and I go through and I look at that, and then I update that Google sheet. So that way I kind of have up-to-date information every time.
I have Vine friends on Facebook, and I have
Oh, yeah.
notifications. So like when they're posting something, I know when they're posting, and I can comment. That lets them know that I'm still interested in them. I'm interested in what they're doing. I know what their kids are doing. They know what's happening.
So they can look, so you just.
Don't
so
tell anyone.
If they're your friend on Facebook or a client,
Yeah,
you have the notification set anytime they do something, they.
yeah. And then they're seeing what you're doing too, and it makes it more personable. Some people might not agree with my stalking tactics, but
And anytime, like I like to send
It's
out cards
heartfelt.
a couple of times a year.
Yeah.
And so I go
My
on social
social
media.
media.
What's the last 3 posts you talked about? It's like, what was important going
Yeah.
on? Oh, I saw you had a rough week last week. I hope, praying for you. All of those types of things. I think it just makes it.
I have sent deceased pet cards off of Facebook.
yeah, it's good to keep up with your
It
clients.
makes a difference.
That's how you keep your
Consistently keep up with your
Yes.
Absolutely,
clients.
relationships.
So, this next one says, well, if there's one thing you could change in your business, what would it be? If you were to change one thing in your business, what would it be?
Learning how to leave it, that would be my biggest thing. Just to, seriously.
How to shut the phone off?
Today about set me off. Yes, that I cannot get on my phone, drove me crazy. Being able to carve that out and just shut it off at a certain time frame, take a vacation and not take my laptop, right? Really, truly invest in the ones that I currently have and quit chasing the other people who are having vacations and doing other things while I'm trying to help them buy houses.
and you're jealous.
I
You're like,
am.
I just want a break.
I do. I just want a
And
break.
you deserve a break.
A work-life balance, I
Yeah.
think, is super, super important.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. What do you think, Sarah? One thing you
Honestly,
would
I didn't even, when I wrote out all my little answers, I didn't even write an answer out on this because I feel like it's so tricky because if I don't like something about my business, I'm going to change it. If it's not working, I'm going to change it. So right now, I
Like
feel
right then, you're changing
right
it.
then, it's like, okay, this is not working. Like I've done 2 transactions, like this is an epic fail. We're scrapping it. We're going to start over. What's going to work? At the end of every year, I would do a big reflection. What worked? What didn't work? What do I want to keep doing? And I revamp it. My biggest thing was work-life balance. Like stuff wasn't working last year. I felt like I was constantly chasing my tail every day. What do I got to get done? What do I got to get done in my time frame? And so I changed that on like this day I work on marketing. This day I work on this. I might still have appointments during those times too, but I know that's what I'm working on, and that changed, my issue. So I don't really have a lot of what I would change right now because if it's not working, then I gotta change it because I don't have time to waste. So,
Right. What about you, Amber? Is there anything you would?
I think I'm the issue. Like, I'm a perfectionist, so I'm just like constantly nagging myself with things I'm doing wrong or things I could do better. So I'm like basically my worst enemy, if I'm being completely honest, because I have expectations of myself that are up here, and it's not always like reachable, but it keeps me going. But I should probably do better like you do, and like meeting people before like I show them houses. I'm kind of a sucker, I guess. I'm like, oh, what's up? But
it's exciting.
yeah, it is. It's exciting. It's fun, and I love people for the most part, the nice ones at least. But yeah, I wish I wasn't as hard on myself. People that work for me, I can be a little bit of a pain in the butt as far as like my expectations from myself too, but from other people as well that are on my team. I'm pretty strict, harsh sometimes, but in a kind way, heartfelt way.
Okay, the next one, what keeps you up at night?
We joked about this last night. I have a new one. AT&T goes down. That keeps me up at night.
Telephone.
I literally was like, what? I can't reach my kids. I don't even know what happens. How do people function without a cell phone? I was even trying to use the room phone, like, how do I use this telephone? And it wouldn't let me dial 911. I'm just like, oh my God.
That's a problem.
Right, I know, I have an issue. Did I miss something? That's probably what keeps me up at night. Did I miss something? Did I not make that phone call? Or sometimes I'll wake up and go, oh, I haven't talked to this client in a while, right? And instantly I'm just like, oh my God, I gotta reach out, and it's midnight, now I've gotta wait till the next day. It's wanting to not miss a single detail for my client. Because one missed detail causes a line of chaos, and I just don't want to miss one small detail that may make a huge difference in how their process goes.
Right.
And losing my dogs, that
And your
keeps me
dogs.
up at night.
I understand that. I have 2 puppies right now. They're 9 weeks today. Totally get that.
Kids.
Yeah, it's fun. It's loud. So what keeps me up at night is mostly if I know a client, this sounds awful, if a client's not listening, like, okay, you made this choice and now we're gonna have to sit and live in this choice, and like not taking an offer, not willing to negotiate, all of these things, like, okay, down the road, like I know what's gonna happen, and so I just kind of educate, okay, this is the trajectory I see, this is what, these are the numbers we're looking at if we make this choice. And they don't believe you. And oh, it's going to be fairies and rainbows and unicorns and it's going to be great. And I'm like, oh, but it's not. It's not. And then we get there and I'm like, okay, crunch time. We've lost 20 grand. Here we go. And so like that kind of stuff keeps me up of like, I can't make somebody make a decision.
Right. You can't
And
control the
I can't
decisions.
control it. And all I can do is educate, right? But that's what bothers me is like, especially with my first time buyers who are like really believing in like whatever builder we're working with, and I'm like, oh, but baby girl, no, let's not do this. Like those types of things, like it just bothers me.
Yeah.
I want to help everyone make a good decision.
Yeah, it's crazy that people just won't listen.
They
They hire you to take care of them, but then they don't listen.
Yep. I have a couple of different categories for who do that, and both times it's always difficult whether I feel like it's my little, my own daughter making that choice or my dad making that choice, like it's either way, but it's hard.
Yeah. I think the same thing. I'm going to piggyback off of both of them. Just making sure that you're not missing something. Or if you have that client that's looking for the unicorn and you're like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what am I missing? And you'll take them to see a house. You're like, check. And then they find something else. And you're like, okay, Lord, like, what did I do wrong? And you're trying to like take the blame on yourself. And that's a tough one. Because you do want everybody to be happy and you want to help them find their dream home, and it's stressful. And then obviously the night before closing, I'm like super nervous, messaging them things. I'm like, don't forget your cashier's check. not your personal check. And I swear, at some point, you always have that person that brings the personal check. And you're like, okay, we're closing right now.
Make
Like,
sure your license isn't expired.
yes, all of those things that you're thinking, I've told them this, but are they listening? Are they actually going to do it? So I text them a few days before, and then I text them the night before. And I'm like, reminders, like along the way, because I've already told you this, but that stuff just stresses me out because I'm a perfectionist, remember? Type A, I like everything perfect.
So do you have a transaction coordinator or anything, or do you guys do your own file?
No, we do our own. Tammy in our office helps with stuff, but we do our own stuff. I'm a control freak. I like to do my own stuff, and so
Well, I was gonna say, if you had
I
one,
know that that's not great, but I do.
It's nice to have
I
one, you
used
can just
one for
blame
a bit
things
because
on
one of my
them.
friends had one, but I don't know, I'm just such a control freak. Maybe down the road, I'll be able to like let some more things go.
We think at some point your business is gonna get so, you know what I mean?
I mean, I hope
Because
so.
you're just, you guys are just barely getting, you two are just barely getting into this at some point in your life. So do you guys have, your team has a transaction coordinator?
They do, and I have my own transaction coordinator. So, but I'm like that too. I was very control freakish about my stuff and things like
Is
that.
she gonna do it the way you want it done?
She does, and that's why I allow her to do it, but I would be in the car all day, right, and someone would need a document, and how am I gonna run my business and then send a document at 11, midnight, and then wait till the next day, and I'm back in my car, and so it was critical to have a transaction person. Our office, and I don't know what other offices do, but they do a concierge where you can just have your transaction person do one file. I would highly recommend you hand the compliance and paperwork off to someone else. So you can focus on money generating
Right.
pieces, right? Being in front of clients, showing homes, those sort of things that I cannot do
Yeah,
if
that's not
I'm
where you're
typing
managing your
paperwork.
time
Yeah,
spent.
absolutely.
So Sarah, take me through like a typical day, like what's your typical day look like?
This crazy town. Yes, this was one question I really struggled with, and a lot. So my day starts at 5:30. Wake up. I try to get a cup of coffee. In that, and I try to do a 15-minute workout. And that's just my me time. I really, really try to focus on that. Get myself ready. Wake up all my children. Feed all the dogs. All of those types of things. We're out the door 7:30. Getting everyone to school. All of that. My hub is at my house now. We just actually moved into a new house about 9 months ago, and I built my own office in that. So that way I'm not back and forth constantly, especially with all my million children. So I go back and I might focus on videos that whole morning. I'm changing clothes, so it looks like I might be in different videos doing different things. I'm fortunate enough that the builder of my home is also a client of mine, so I also showcase his home. So I use my house a lot when I'm talking to people who are interested in building. They'll like, come look at my house, come tour my house. So I love to showcase my own home. Because also when people are like, "Ooh, love your house, who built it?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me show you."
Right.
So it's also an easy in. So I like to do that.
I'm not sending anybody mine off you. You're way too nice. No, I'm just kidding. I'm impressed. It's
I
working for you.
So you're not doing just,
You keep
when you're
doing
doing videos, it's like one day a week, you say, I'm doing.
Yeah,
videos."
I'm just doing videos for this week, whatever I'm having to do. Now, I might do like improv videos throughout the week or something, but for the most part, like that's what I'm doing. Sending videos to clients, those types of updates. By noon, I'm picking up some littles and we're getting lunch and we're doing that until my nanny shows up at 12:30 when she gets out of class. When she gets there around 12:30, I hand off my kiddos and I either go back to my office, I go back to showings or whatever I do until 12:30 or 2:30. 2:30 hits. Time to pick up another kiddo. I get her wherever they need, and then my afternoon and evening is car time. So I keep joking, and I'm halfway joking to my husband. I need, so he gets it. He's a patrol units. I need this.
Yep.
I need to be able to have my laptop right here
Yep.
because I'm sitting at dance class for 45 minutes.
Yep.
And or I'm on the phones for that time, and when I should be kind of probably networking the moms there if I'm really smart. But that's typically what I'm doing. I'm working in my car all evening until it's dinner time. Dinner time happens. If I have a late showing, I work it either after bedtime or around that time because I try to really focus on dinner with my kids if everyone's home. And then after they're back, everyone's in bed, it never fails. You're going to get those text messages. I just sent you an email. I need you to look at this, like right when I'm putting my kids down. I still have a 18-month-old, so she still likes to be rocked and held until she goes to sleep, and I'm not going to give that up because she's my fourth baby and I'm not having any others. So I say, okay, give me an hour. I'll get, I'll go and look at it or whatever that looks like. And then usually from like 8 to 10 is either wind down time, returning email time, putting out fires time. A couple of days ago, me and another agent were back and forth because my client was going crazy over something that wasn't existing. So I'm like diffusing situations, like when I'm walking around my bathrobe, like those types of things. But that's kind of my day, is like, I'm gonna run here for a couple hours and then I'm gonna do this. And then I'm gonna run here for a couple of hours, I'm gonna do
But
this.
you usually block your afternoon.
But-
That's when you're showing, doing
Yeah,
all
mine's
this
showing,
appointments.
yeah. I really try to do that in the afternoon, because in the morning time, we might have classes, we might have meetings, we might have all of those things. And I can be, or if I'm at my home office, I can be really productive during that longer stretch. Versus if I'm already in the car, I might as well be doing showings and popping by and doing those things. So that's kind of how I
So the
structure it.
videos you said you were sending to your clients,
Yeah.
are they like videos you're sending to clients you have deals working with?
Sometimes
Or
sometimes
just to like
it's-
your sphere of influence?
Yes, it's both. So I try to do videos instead of typing out text messages or emails, I really try to do a quick little video. Hey, I was just thinking about you, and that sort of thing. Deal.
So like even during a transaction or something, you might be, hey, like, here's what
Like,
we got coming up next.
yeah, this is what's, hey, I just heard the septic's about to be pumped in a couple of days. Just wanted to let you know that that's going to be done. And then all that we have to do is get the bank to clear everything. And we're
But you do that on video, not a text,
I don't text
not
that.
a phone
No.
call.
It's just a lot quicker, easier. I don't go back and look at it. I don't review when I'm looking, yeah. I just, here it is. It's so funny. Even my kids the other day, because I did it sitting on the couch, and so I have my tripod on my little ottoman thing, and they're like, why is this all moved around? And I'm like, because mommy had to do videos today. It's just the way it is. But if I'm doing videos for like social media, I don't want to be wearing the same thing all week, right? Because that looks weird. So I literally
Looks too staged.
Right. I will literally go and like change clothes between videos, or if like I'm wearing like leggings, I will totally throw on some trousers over my leggings or whatever. Like it's just quick things like that, because then I'm done for the week and it's all done. I'll go in and I'll upload it, I'll edit it, whatever. And then that morning I just go and post and it's done. And so it's so much easier on me.
So instead of emailing a client, and I'm kind of stuck on this, but instead of just emailing a client, hey, we're gonna pump your septic, the septic's gonna be pumped in J's, blah, blah, you just text them a video?
I do. I'll text them a video. I do emails as well. I still email and updates. I do kind of block emails though, of like, okay, this is what's going on this week. Or we're getting ready to close. This is your checklist for this closing or whatever. Because 30, 45 days, that's not that long that we're having to do things. So I try to do a weekly update of like, this is what's going on this week in your home, or if we're on the buyer's side. Okay, just talk to the lender. This is kind of your checklist. Make sure you don't forget to respond to her emails or whatever that looks like. Because
When did you start, like, how long in the business were you before you're like, I'm gonna start doing videos more, or did you start
from the very
day one?
beginning, first open house I started walking through, and I have just found it so much easier and just less time consuming than sitting there and thinking about, oh, I don't like that word or whatever it is. I'm a horrible speller also, so that probably doesn't help things.
Well, it's just so much more
Yeah.
personal, isn't it?
So much more personal.
Than a text or an email. or-
Yep. It's just so much easier. And now my husband is probably going to start getting annoyed because I've started doing it with him and he can't always watch videos. And so I'm like, oh, hey, what are you doing? Da, 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 da.
We're gonna
But it's
send him
just, yes, because it's just, I get into that mindset of like, hey, this is what's going on, or hey, great showing, thank you for opening your door, whatever. But yeah, it's just a lot easier for me to do a little video.
I agree with the video thing. Lauren got me on that. And because I think text messages can be misconstrued. You know, they can think you're coming
Absolutely.
across hatefully or something when you're not.
100%. My problem is my videos get a little too long, and then they're like, "Oh, won't send," and I'm like, "And I have to redo it." Okay, I just talked to it.
Right. I don't remember what the question was now, but, anyway. Was that
A
a
typical
very
day. Typical day.
So, which one do you guys
Ready
want
to
to do?
I don't want to follow you. She's like, I got this, and this. I'm not a morning person.
So I'm not getting up super early. My husband takes our daughter to school, so
Good job.
I sleep in. They're in high school, so my oldest is in college, and then I have a bonus child who was best friends with my son that I just lost. And so he lives with us. We've taken him in, and then my daughter's 14. So they're very independent at this age, but my husband likes to take her for coffee before school. So they do that. I sleep because I stay up late. I'll do that, and then I think every day is just so different. Like, I don't do as well as you at like setting everything up. I like to go into the office and I'll get stuff done, or I'll lay in bed and do stuff. Like, I know what I need to do for that day, and I know like what has to be done that day, so that's like a priority. And I some days may work 3-4 hours, and then there's some days I might work 12 hours. Like, it just depends. And some evenings you have showings because people work and they can't go during the day. So sometimes I'm doing showings in the evening while they're eating, but he cooks, I don't, so it's perfect. And then, sometimes I'm texting at like 11:30 at night, 12 o'clock, clients are sending you stuff. And it's not ideal, but it's part of the business. So I wish I was more structured like you, but my kids are older and kind of do their own thing, but it makes a difference.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a difference, and you have to be structured,
Yeah.
you don't have a choice because
Makes a huge
the schedule. and-
My time is more, like, I can move it around easy, so I'm not as structured as her, so.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I've been there, but I.
But it shows you
didn't
can
work.
have 4 kids and do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
it's super respectable.
it's a fun,
For sure.
fun time.
what's your typical day look like?
So I'm a not early but not late riser.
You're in the middle, right?
I'm in the middle, about 7 o'clock, or as soon as my eyes pop
Oh,
open.
that's so early.
That's my tail.
5:30. But as soon as my eyes open, my brain is not getting it right. So now I'm thinking real estate. I can't go back to sleep, so I immediately grab
So
my.
if you happen to wake up at 6, if your brain starts running, you're
There's
done.
no going back to sleep after that, because now everything is flooded back in. So I'm grabbing my phone, of course, and seeing what has happened overnight. I'm checking social media. I'm checking our team's social media. I'm checking my email, the team's email to see what's going on. And then I have my queue list of the day, right? What do I need to knock out? Whether that's inspections or putting a new listing up or selling a piano. That's what I'm currently doing on a listing, trying to get rid of their damn piano. All these things that we do, they don't understand all the, right, sweeping floors, doing all of that sort of stuff. So it's typically, once I'm ready and out the door, I'm in my car the rest of the day. Dropping off earnest money, just doing all of those things. I may stop in, and I talked about doing pop buys. I do pop buys at other brokerages. I get referrals from a Caldwell agent in my town who refers to me versus refers to her brokerage.
Wow.
So
Why doesn't she switch brokerages?
So when you're talking about building relationships with people and building your circle, you're working with these people every day, right? You're in the trenches with these people. Some of them you don't ever want to speak to because they don't know how to do a broker's remarks or, set up a showing time. But, you need to build all relationships. So that's what I'm working on all day. I may stop by my title company and drop them off lunch because we've had horrible files. I mean, it's just a constant real estate piece all day until I'm in bed by about 9 o'clock.
Oh, Lord.
Now, I may not go to sleep, but my phone, I don't answer after that. I think somehow
You just
embedded,
at 9, you shut it off.
somehow embedded in me, like 9 o'clock was the time. I don't know if that was with my parents, like no one should be calling you after 9 o'clock or something. Because, we had regular phones, like not, cell phones.
Hey, I had a regular phone.
And so you couldn't talk to people after 9 o'clock. So for whatever reason, that's in my head that I don't reach out to people after 9 o'clock. I don't even care if they've reached out to me. It's on Do Not Disturb. The only people who get through are my kids and my husband. And so I kind of shut off until the next morning. And then 6 o'clock in the morning, my brain pops up and I'm mad dash answering all of those messages.
I'm the sleeping girl. I'm up till 12:30, 1 o'clock every night. 'Cause I feel smarter later in the day. Like in the mornings, I'm like, I'm so tired.
Are you drinking around that time?
I don't drink. Maybe that's my problem. And I do like coffee, but yeah, I like to stay up late because a lot of people work too, and so they have kids and they're not able to do anything till their kids go to bed. I don't know.
Well, I think that's what's great about it. It's your business, just do it how you want to.
Yeah,
do it, so.
and I'm like I said, I think I'm smarter at nighttime. I don't know. I'm a night owl.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a morning person, so I like to sleep till I'm not getting up before 9. So. Okay.
So what's been your biggest marketing win? Like, what's been the best thing you do? You know, your biggest win when it comes to marketing?
Popeyes for sure is my biggest. I spent a lot of money on bull crap that went nowhere.
Right. Just talking about clients.
So I'll do mail outs. So around St. Patrick's Day, that one's getting ready to come out. I buy scratchers. I order.
And who are you mailing them to?
I have a top 50-ish, 75 people that I send them to.
Like, you know, those are your people.
Those are the ones I know either send me repeat business or I didn't hate them at the end of the transaction. It's the ones that listened, the ones that I know if someone asked, they would drop my name, right? Because we all have the ones that we hope we never hear from again. We're just glad that ink is dry and we never have to talk to them again. So it's not the family members, right? I'm doing truly clients. It's not my inner circle. It's my top 50, 75. Depends, maybe 100. On scratchers, I may do 100 people. But I also use personal marketing and send out postcards to everyone every quarter.
You just, that 70 people, whatever, you just truly stay and flow.
Absolutely. And I might switch it up a little depending on if I've added new people in. You know, I may have had to scrounge around for which of the last 10 I really like or don't, like kind of like them. But I try to at least quarterly do a Popeye. Something that has to do with the season. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to drive there. Girl Scout cookies is a big one, right? Everyone likes Girl Scout cookies, so I'll do 50, 75 people and physically drive there to their house and drop
Do
them.
you feel like you can tell, like, right after you do that, like, you can see some referrals come your way?
Oh, they're
or-
posting on Facebook, they're calling me, you know, the win for me is when they go, my realtor, right?
Right.
Now I have them and I need to stay, like, they truly think that I am their realtor and they're not gonna go to somebody else. Cause I know one of them has 5 kids and so they get 6 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, right? I mean, I'm cognizant of their family dynamic. And so it's that consistency at Popeyes. I have spent money on junk. I mean, I have put myself in, there's a little magazine that comes out called Value Ads or something like that. I wasted tons of money on that.
Never got a call.
Never got a phone call. People that said, hey, Tanya, I see you in the magazine, right? But they're already my clients, so they were just like, look who I saw.
Yep.
I paid money to have my face go across the TV screens in Mexican restaurants, right? They have the little flip screen of local businesses. So I get pictures of that. Look who I just saw on the Mexican
But it's always your
It's always people that already know me, right? I've never gotten a phone call from it. Initially, I think I had, and I have it now, but I paid to have my stuff put on my car. I never got a single phone call off of that. I just do it because I like to have my stuff on my car. So
How long have you been doing that?
I've never had a phone call where they're like, "Hey,
You ran me off the road.
yeah, never, not one time."
She cut me off with Dawn.
Right, I get
Darn it,
Glad I have his digits.
It's something calling guard.
Yes. I think I've always had my info on there. I've just kind of changed it up, and then I got my personalized license. I get more traction on my license plate than anything. So
What's your license?
it says
plate?
I hustle.
I thought you were gonna say something really naughty.
No.
The suck it.
Yeah, you suck.
Yeah.
No. So I really think I think when people get in it, you hear you've got to invest to make money. You got to be real cautious what you invest your money into.
Absolutely.
You got to get a return on it. And, I'm sure everyone's phones, once they get your list of realtors, they just blow you up with, I don't do the golf cards, right? Like, I don't care about the green, I don't even know what they're called. those scorecards.
Yeah.
They call me all the
I
time
get those too.
for that. I refuse to do that.
So you're spending most of your marketing dollars going back into your sphere of influence.
Absolutely, because that's where your return's at. 95% of my business right now is return and referral from that.
You
And
can't beat
referrals
that.
come from other agents, right, in other offices. And so I would not discourage you from making friends with the people you work with and fight with every single day in your market. I mean, the Caldwell office is right next to my title closing company, so I'll pop in there, drop off cookies. They may be like, but
Right. Well,
Yeah,
that's it.
I think it's great.
absolutely.
What do you think? Amber, what's your biggest, like,
I kind of do some of the things that she does as well. So I love little kids, and I think it's so fun. Like one of the gifts that I feel like we get back as agents is when they're like, "This is my new bedroom, and this is what I'm going to do," and they know where they're going to set everything up, even if they think it's the master bedroom. But they also have toys that they love, and so I always try to pay attention. Like I have this one client that their little boy loves dinosaurs, so I'm like, as soon as you get settled in the house, let me know, and I'm going to bring him a dinosaur. Like I want to do something that's personal for the little one.
but you're going to take it over?
I'm going to take it to their house. I'm not going to give it to them as a closing gift. I'm going to make that separate because the kids a lot of times don't come to closings, and I want to personally give it to him. So I will take it to their house. Or like, I don't really want to serve alcohol to people like at closing. So if I know that the wife likes wine, the dad likes Coors Light, I'm going to take that to their house some night. Like on a night there's football coming up, and I'm going to drop it off at their house. And they're like, "This is the coolest thing
Oh,
ever."
but if you do something for somebody's kid,
Yeah, but it's just those little things that you throw in there that make people feel important, and it's not just I just want to make my money from you, and then we're done.
Right.
Like,
but
so I try to do those
taking it
little
to their
things.
kid goes 10 times over
Yes.
whatever taking them to Coors Light. You know what I mean?
Yes, you just gotta pay attention to like what their kids like. They're into Barbies, they're into Barbie doll. Like, and if they have that Barbie already, they don't care. Like, they're just excited to get a new gift.
Right.
So that's something extra that I do, but I think also just like hiring my marketing team was huge. It's worth the investment. But I agree, you have to watch what you invest your money in, but it was crucial. And we shoot once a month, and it's the whole day of shooting.
You shoot all your videos.
All our videos for that whole month. So we don't have to like worry about doing that every day. So that takes away some of our time. And so we can make time to make, postcards and figure out other things to do. I've had clients that are from different cultures, and they wanted to take me to dinner to show me their culture. And so just taking that time out of your schedule to do that for them, it's cool, it's neat, and I get to learn more about them in the process.
Right.
So-
So do you spend, are you doing a lot of stuff with your sphere of influence, or?
Well, I know a lot of people, but a lot of people that I know have houses that they're not gonna be selling anytime soon.
So you don't even really market towards your sphere?
No,
anyway?
I don't. I try to obviously I market to the people that I've worked with, and then I like certain neighborhoods that I send stuff to for the most.
So anybody you do a deal with, you keep them in your, kind of in your circle?
Always in my circle. But other than that, I pick different.
Kind of
neighborhoods.
Target different.
Yeah.
okay.
I would add to it too, if you have the ability to do so. We do client events. They're
Yeah.
huge.
Mhm.
They are huge. They are a little bit of an investment depending on what you do. Did I just say investment? They are a little
It's
bit
okay.
of an investment.
Tomato.
And, if you're going to invest in your business, invest in your people, right? And so we do a Santa event every year. Hiring a Santa is not expensive, right? Get him a chair, let him pop himself down, put a Christmas tree back there, and invite your clients and their kids to come. Cookies, some hot chocolate. It is not a huge investment. And if you can market it in a way where these people don't have to go stand at the
Bass Pro Shop.
row for hours to
Yes.
see Santa Claus. I actually sold Santa his house, so I kind of have an in with Santa.
Aw.
And I use that with my marketing, right? I make him do a marketing speech.
Are you licensed in the North Pole?
He lives in Oklahoma during the summer. So he comes and he's fantastic, and the kids get to come, and so you get that time with your clients again. We also do a big event, James and I do, we invest in a big event at Tulsa Drillers for the baseball team. So we'll pay to rent one of the areas, feed them hamburgers and hot dogs.
I love that.
Yeah, they love it. Like that, for whatever reason, it seems little, but clients love that attention. They love free stuff, right? And if you can take them to have them somewhere, sporting event, something like that. Now Tulsa has that indoor football league, or hockey. You know, anything that's free. Hot dogs are not expensive. You know, if you're going to invest your money in your people, invest in things that get them all in one place.
Yeah,
And then-
the whole team, we do what we call, it's called paying for.
Yeah.
You know, so basically, you know, where you pay. Of course, the problem we're having now is like last year, I think we had about 270 people
Yeah.
show up, so it's getting so big.
Love that.
But we've done it so many years now, but I guarantee, like I tell them, those people that come to that, they're our people.
Yeah.
Like, they're just our people, so.
We
I
did
had-
Springfield Cardinals game too, and they have all the kids stuff that's fun for them,
Right.
so.
Well, we do it a little bit, so when we have an event, what we do is we try to make that event where we touch the client 5 times. So we're doing an invitation, a phone call, well, video to start out with, phone call, text, then we do an e-bike, then we do a postcard, and follow-up reminder about it, and then
Thank you.
afterward, thank you. So, I mean, that's just another way to get, you know, stay in front of them.
Sure.
So, anyway, but, yeah.
Well, one of my favorite marketing things that we've done, or that I've done, is I call it the watermelon crawl. So, 4th of July is my favorite holiday. My birthday's July 3rd, so it kind of works well. And so I drop, awesome. So I drop off watermelons. I put my sticker on them and put a bow on them. I have someone do all, the floofy bows, and we stick it on there. And I drop off a watermelon, a full-size watermelon, to all of my sphere. And it takes me about 2 days, and when I go and pick them up, everyone just laughs at how many watermelons I'm getting, because I'm filling my husband's truck and I'm filling my van, and it's just a whole thing. But it is so much fun, and it is the biggest marketing win, because my clients are posting all on social media for that, basically that whole week of like, finally eating the watermelon, or at the cookout. And then when somebody's like, oh, that's a great watermelon, where'd you get it? Oh, you will never believe, my realtor actually drops this off for us every year at that cookout. And then that just kind of spreads the word. And it has been a huge marketing win.
How do you have a place you go and get the watermelons
I just
every
get
year?
them at
or-
Walmart.
Okay.
Yeah, super at Walmart. I literally do Walmart pickup, which is the funniest thing. And they're like, we think this is wrong. Yeah, they think the order's wrong every time. No, and they're just like, we have this order for, and I'm like, that's right, just bring them on in. Like, here we go. My
Love
kids
it.
think it's the funniest thing. It is so much fun.
No, that's great.
But yeah, my kids get into it. My oldest, now that she's 16, she can start the whole drop-off process too. But yeah, it's a fun time. So it's our biggest marketing, that and videos. But I'd say my watermelon crawl.
You do that every July.
Every-
Now if you quit doing it, they're gonna be like, where's my watermelon?
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem.
They're gonna be angry.
Yeah.
So, what was your biggest marketing mistake, which you kind of said a little bit what
Wasting
yours
money.
was?
Magnets. No one has magnetic fridges anymore. I mean, magnets is a big one. Or the 911, like they call all the time. We're going to feature one realtor and put you on with all the 911 stuff. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, it's the phone call where you get hooked on and you think it's going to get you all this business because you've not been doing it very long. You realize it's not going to get you any business. So if it invests in your clients, then spend that money on that marketing. Do not spend the money on gathering new clients with those little silly things. You will not make any return.
I
on that.
love their fridge magnets. I always like to draw mustache on the realtor.
Now, the OU-OSU magnet schedule, that's always a big one. That's, if you're gonna, in Oklahoma, you're gonna do that, that's always big, if you get someone the football schedule. But for them to call and wanna put you on their 911 magnet, which I don't even own one, we're just gonna feature one realtor. As soon as they say that, shut it down. That's not, and that's
You're
not,
not gonna get no
you're not
business.
getting any money back on that.
So what about, what have you done here for like, you're like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that?
Somebody else's magnet.
I don't feel like I've done anything yet. I mean, I
But you
hired
did
a
great.
marketing team. I have a bachelor's degree in marketing, so I feel like I'm pretty wise on that. But also, like Wayne has taught me early on that if it doesn't bring you clients, don't do it. So it's plain and simple.
Or model it out.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. until-
So, and I invest so much in leads. Like I'm in my marketing team, I don't spend a lot of extra money doing things that aren't gonna benefit
Right.
my team,
Right.
so.
Well, like
No,
your
it's-
booklets, did you kind of get that from Wayne and then you just took them to a whole new
Yeah,
level?
he told me I have to do it.
Same here. He was like, I want all of these on your desk.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. And so that's.
I mean,
Yes,
you
sir.
really took that to a whole new level. Those are really.
Well, he takes them now everywhere. So I get messages constantly, like.
Yeah, I
people
think
wanting
I
this
saw him in
template.
one of his presentations.
Yes, he takes them everywhere. He's so proud of them. He'll come, I had to give him my office code number so he could get in my room and steal them when he runs out. So it's kind of fun. But yeah,
You don't have to spend a lot of money on
I
those when
didn't
you
spend a ton
start.
of money.
I mean, we do them and we use the Remax folders that we slice and then spiral wound it.
That's what kind of.
That way, if we have something that changes, which we do, if we add an agent, lose an agent, we update testimonials, that sort of stuff. Or we put a list in there of the guys that we partner with to fix things, right? And so sometimes they screw up and make us mad and we need to take them off the list, right? So we don't want to reprint, so we just
I mean,
unload
they
and do.
just have
Right.
good materials.
Sure, so we do that, and so we spend a little bit of money on nicer paper, and those Remax folders are not cheap if you've ever had to buy Remax folders. They want a lot of money for those. But we also are getting ready to do an after closing book, and it's titled, I Hope Your Neighbors Don't Suck on the front. I do, I love it. And it has the follow-up stuff in there, right? Their home warranty information, the list of providers that we had in our initial book of if your hot water tank was working, here's our plumbers, here's these people, how to file your homestead exemption. You know, all the things there, utilities.
So will you guys mail that to them or
At
go by and
closing.
drop? Oh, give it to them at
Yeah.
closing.
Yeah, just to take it a step further from the initial consultation.
Yeah.
Here's a follow, because you know you're the first person they call every time something bad happens, right? Every time they have a question. And this won't eliminate them from asking questions. You want them to keep calling you and lean on you. But it's a little bit of an investment for the folders and everything, but man, they take those. And it's got tons of information for them in it.
Do you have a
On
biggest
the back, you
market?
can say,
No,
If they
I
do
really
so.
don't.
Yeah.
Right? No.
Bragger.
What?
Bragger.
I'm super picky about where I put my money and everything goes back into my SOI.
Well, I would say one thing you've done great is like you got it to your sphere so quick.
Right.
You know, where it takes you a lot of people 3 or 4 years to get where
Yeah.
they're getting their sphere. I mean, you did that so quick. That was so smart.
Yeah, and just constantly, like, when we get new hires at the PD, like, okay, all those boys know, this is who you gotta call when you move to Stillwater. And same thing, like, the person, we just had a new city manager move in, well, I guess who got a brand new house from my builder? You know, those types of things. I honestly wasn't on the buy side, but everyone in the city hall is saying that I sold her that house, because I was on the builder side. I'm like, yes, I sure did, you're right.
Exactly.
So just things like that, that's just word of mouth, relationships.
Your
It
community
makes
is a big one.
Makes a big
Spend
deal.
time in your community.
It doesn't cost anything.
Do you guys have any questions for him you want to ask?
I do, but it might be a not a good question. So I'm a new agent, and when you say you had people come to your office 30 minutes before, yeah, it's a great idea. I'm just wondering, because you're so blunt, like, what that process looks like, what you cover it, and the order you cover it.
Absolutely. So, get them on the phone, right? Tell them like, oh, I would love to show you 123 Main Street. That looks like a great property. While I'm getting all that stuff pulled up before we meet, instead of meeting at 2:30, let's go ahead and meet at 2 if that's okay. Let's meet at my office. We can meet each other a little bit face to face. I can go over my process with you, and then we can kind of ask any initial questions. I can show you a few more properties that might pique your interest, and we can go ahead and set up those showing times when we're on the way to 123 Main Street. Does that sound okay? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say that's okay. Then we're gonna go over our buyer's guide, right? So I'm gonna sit down and I go over this whole puppy with them. Again, you gotta know your staff, right? So I am showing them, I'm not sitting here saying, let's read this together. And then as long as everything looks okay, I'm okay. You know, they answer all the questions correctly. We're in the process, right? Whether we are about to get pre-approved or whatever that looks like, I know going into it, right? If I know that they are going to be pre-approved, if they are not already, like, okay, oh, yes, I know Desiree. That sounds like a great idea. I'll give her a call. Okay, here's her card. I'm going to go ahead and send her a text that you're going to be reaching out to her with your contact information. So then she knows to follow up with them, right? It's not just me hounding them. And then we go over the buyer broker agreement. Okay, this is how I'm going to get paid. This is kind of how this process works. We're going to go over this because I'm going to show you how I'm working for you. I'm promising to work for you. And this is kind of your promise that you're going to be working with me as well. And then we go through.
So you have them sign
the broker's agreement right then. And I also put in there, you know, like this is to save in case we're going to go see a house that does not offer a buyer's commission. You know, 2 out of 3 times they're probably going to offer something, but there are those instances, whether it's a FSBO or maybe there's, and I always offer like the VA example, there are instances where maybe my commission could be a great negotiable tool and maybe we could work this out to where you might be able to win in a multiple offer situation versus the seller's paying my commission if you would be able to do this. This is kind of, for this price range, this is about kind of what you're going to be looking at to pay for that commission. Are you going to be able to do that, or is that something, and if they're not able to do that, then I know right off the bat, okay, those things are off the table. We're not going to be able to look at those types of houses. We're not going to be able to have that type of negotiation. And we come to agreement right then, we sign it. But it does save a lot of legwork later of being like, oh my gosh, we're going to go look at 45 North Maple and they're not going to pay me. Oh no.
So your
What do you
buyer's
put in
guide,
there?
how many pages were your buyer's guide? Like,
Yeah, my buyer's guide, it is.
I mean, it didn't look like it was just
No, it's
huge.
It's not huge. So hi, who I am, all my contact information, talks about my Homes for Heroes program that I offer, and then the home buyer's roadmap, right? Like everything that we're gonna have to do, all the little nooks and crannies. And then we go over terminology because I don't know about you guys, but 15 years ago, I didn't know what earnest money was when I was buying a property. Pre-approval, offer, appraisal, all of those things. Table of contents. Again, step 1 is finding a great agent, and it just goes through all of those steps, has my testimonials in it and things like that. And that way I can always go back and then I love this. It's just kind of a little like, okay, we're gonna go look at 123 Main Street. Tell me what you like about it. And then I say, okay, shoot me a picture of that whenever you get into the car. So that way I kind of have something to gauge on looking at future properties, right?
So what's that 30-minute talk conversation with them?
Yeah,
Minutes?
super easy. And then we head on and do our day.
So like I would assume, after the phone call, that
Yeah, we get everything. So Tony calls me and says like, yes, I'm like, hey, Sarah, 123 Main Street looks great. Can we go look at that? Yeah, what time are you thinking? This is if I know them. What time are you thinking? Now, I'm going to bet them a lot more on the phone if this is somebody off the street because, again, that's what we need to do, right? If they want to go look at it that day, I try to get them into the office that day beforehand. Sometimes it doesn't happen, right? Sometimes you're going to have those moments of like, oh no, I have 30 minutes. I had one client, lead turn client that called me and was like, I have 30 minutes. Can you get to this showing? Like me and my wife are sitting outside. Like I just happened to be in the car on the way into town. Sure, let me see if it's available. And it was. And then I was like, okay, do you guys want to follow me to my office? We can grab some waters and I can tell you a little bit more about the buying process because they had just been pre-approved by somebody online. just started. Yeah, let's do that. And then I took them. So if you have those instances, you can still do your buyer consultation. You might waste 20 minutes doing that showing or 30 minutes, but then take them back, continue the conversation. Or, hey, Panera's down the street. Let me buy you a cup of coffee and tell you about
But that
it.
doesn't matter how good you know him, you're gonna sit down. and go through that.
Absolutely. I mean, my kid's gym teacher, I made her sit down and we see each other every week. And I'm like, nope, we're going to come to the office and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about this. We're going to pick out what lender you want to use. We're going to do all of these things. And then this is your roadmap and this is your homework. And then I'll follow up in a couple of days and see how things are going. So yeah, it doesn't matter.
The way that you present that buyer's consultation, you wait till kind of the end of that meeting, provide all that value up front, and then get into that.
Yeah, are you talking about the buyer broker agreement?
Buyer brokerage, sorry.
Yes, yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, the buyer broker agreement is the last thing that I go through, because I want to show my value, right? This is why you're paying me.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of how I get paid, because a lot of people, they don't know how this works. And so you can say, you know, like, oh, the one we're going to look at, you can see that, you know, there's 2% commission. That means that I'm going to be getting paid 2% of that. If for some reason that needs to be negotiated, I don't go below this number, whatever's on that document. It's already written in there. I don't go below this number. I'm going to get paid this. So either you're going to agree to it, and I'll write on there sometimes, like if they are going to be interested in for sale by owners, I ask that, like, is that something you're interested in? It's not everybody's personality. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Then we might write on there, like for sale by owner or something, an agreement for those specific things. But it saves a lot of heartache in the end. But yeah, I do that at the very end after I go over this. I show them why you need to hire me and then why you need to pay me.
Anybody else have a question?
I actually had a couple questions. So you talked about the 1, 2, 3 plan. Can you like break that down a little bit?
Well, it's not, it's super, I just call
Yeah.
it a 1, 2, 3 plan, but it's very specific on each person. So maybe they need to raise their credit. Okay, what did Desiree tell them to do to raise their credit? Okay, well, we need to pay off this credit card. We need to pay off our student loans or whatever that looks like. Okay, we did that. We had to be in our job for this amount of time. Okay, we've met that check mark. Like, we just have a plan on, like, okay, this is what we need to do to be able to qualify for this type of house. Or we don't have enough money for closing costs. Okay, well, we need to work this many overtime hours to be able to qualify for this, to be able to get to here. So it's just kind of breaking each circumstance down and getting into the weeds with them, because when I found, even sometimes I'll go to the lender with them and like help explain that, because sometimes they need to hear it a couple of different ways or a couple of different times and things like that. And so I'll say, and I usually, you know, you get their permission, right? But I'm happy to go to the lender with you to make sure that you fully understand all of that. And we'll go and we'll break that down of like, okay, in March, we're going to meet back here. We're going to see where we're at. And this is what we're going to do. And it really works out. And then sometimes you can work it. I've worked it where they rented for a year, but they rented the actual house that they are going to purchase. And that person was their landlord. We wrote all that up because they weren't going to qualify for a loan for a year. But they could make those monthly payments. And so they're making the same thing that they're going to on their mortgage. So the bank is like loving this, right? Because they're seeing, oh, we've already been making these payments and they're approving all of this. And then in a year, we actually close on that house. They've already been putting all that money towards it. So the seller is able to use that as leverage to purchase another house and they can move out. Like, there's lots of creative ways, but I think getting in the weeds with the lenders is super important, because a lot of times there's so much miscommunication if you're listening to your buyers of like, oh, well, the lender told me that. No, honey, that's not what the lender said at all. And so being in charge of and helping that plan go smoothly. Super
That's
helpful.
why, like, I'm 23, so a lot of my sphere is younger.
Yeah.
First-time home buyers, and a lot of them that I've sat down with and done consultations with, some of them are ready. Some of them are a year, 2 years out.
And you
So
keep touching
just
them
having a clear plan.
constantly. Put those in your sphere. Reach out. Say, hey, buddy, you know, whatever. Every quarter, even, and just to make sure that they know that one, you're still around, and two, how are you helping them get to where they want to be.
Well, I think one thing is that kids, like you say, we're gonna meet back here at a certain time, so you kind of give them a timeline where they need to get their crap done. So you're not
Absolutely.
jacking with them for 2 years.
Yep.
You know, so.
What are you writing in your buyer's broker agreements? Like wording, like kind of what Wayne says, or as far as like the commission? Not the
Yeah.
amount, but like how are you phrasing that?
Yeah, so I have a few different ways, but most of the time it's, you know, how there's little check boxes right on the forms and stuff. And so I'm usually putting in my amount, and then on the other, if we're doing FSBOs or things like that, if FSBO, I'm trying to think of the wording on the spot, sorry. Like if FSBO will not be paying commission, buyer agrees to pay full commission, or buyer agrees to pay commission in the event of negotiation and seller will not be paying, or, you know, something
Right.
like that. But I make sure that they fully understand all of the words, and we're not just, because you sign so much paperwork, they don't know, they're signing their life away, they don't know. And so I just want to make sure, like, okay, and I tell them the amount, like, okay, we're buying a $200,000 house, okay, 2-3%, what does that look like? In hard terms, so that way they're not getting shell shocked later, because I think that people have a really bad taste in their mouth about realtors and how much we make per transaction. Well, this is why I'm making this much, because I'm doing all of this for you and going to the lender and doing these things. And
Have you had a lot of clients pay you directly, or do you normally work it into like the
I think I've only
price of
had
the house?
2 that have had to pay me, I think. So.
Well, that's the difference between being a tour guide and being a professional.
Absolutely.
Exactly what you're doing is being a professional, and my gosh, I get so tired of talking about it. That's what everybody should be doing. Instead of just going and hope that they ain't doing it, hope they buy a house. You know what I mean?
It's so fun and it's so exciting. That's the hardest part, especially when I was new. I was just, oh yay, I got another lead. Hooray, let's go meet with them. And sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. But man, it sure cuts out on
That'll wear off.
crap.
That'll wear off soon.
Well, so when anybody else got a question?
I actually have one more question for
Well, only 2 per person.
I switched people.
You can have mine.
So when I hear Popeyes, so I do, you know, try to do at least once a quarter every now and then, but I find like a lot of times when I
Wait
do
a
that,
minute, once a quarter or every now and then?
well, last year I did once a
Make a
quarter.
plan.
Sometimes I fail, but I always try to pop by when I can.
Sure.
Sometimes it's kind of scary at the moment, but when I do it, a lot of times I just drop it off, or like they may not be home, so I like leave it on their porch and text them.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a better way to go about it, because sometimes I'll drop off a pop by, send them the message to the client, and I still never hear back from them. They're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much.
They don't like
So,
you
like,
anymore.
Yeah, so like,
Take
how
them
do you
off
go
your
about,
list.
how do you go about,
You're cut.
do you call them and let them know, hey, I'm gonna be giving you a pop by?
I don't. I do the same thing you do. I drop it off. I've not had the situation yet where they're like, they don't say anything.
Yeah.
But I'll wait a little. I mean, if I did, I would be more concerned that, because I don't ever go on my front porch
Right.
unless
Right.
Amazon shows up, right?
Yeah.
Which is almost
I would say
every
it's
day.
done every day.
Every day. So they may not even know that it's there, right? Because they may not have even gone onto their front porch. Everyone goes in through their garage, and you never go. I mean,
Right.
people don't visit each other anymore, so no one's going on your front porch. So you might just follow up if you're not getting response and just be like, hey, just wanted to check in. Hope you loved the pop by. Look forward to talking to you again. Happy Easter, you know, whatever the holiday is. I don't do drop-bys on everyone. Like I said, I'll do the mailer for the scratch-offs. That's a huge hit.
Yeah.
Every year. And I usually put something like, if you win, make sure you call me, right? Because especially if you win a lot of money, I'm gonna want my money. So I might drop a funny note in there or something about, if you win, I hope to hear from you, or, you know, if you win, here's a down payment on your next house. So, I mean, those are, you don't always have to drop by, but definitely if you've not heard back, and you should have some sense of whether these people like you or not, right?
Right.
So if you don't, I'd follow up instead of waiting 2 days for chocolate or something like that to have sat on the porch.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And all.
Yeah, I always try to make sure it's a non-perishable item.
Sure.
That's
You do a dance in front of the video camera?
Right, and the ring
Yeah.
in front of the ring. I mean, everyone has rings now, so you know, but, and they get used to seeing you every quarter, even though you said you're not doing it consistent.
I feel like the whole purpose is that, you know, the whole purpose of the pop by
If
is
you're
face to
purposing.
face.
It is.
But a lot of times, we
Yeah.
don't get to meet our clients
Right.
face to face.
That's why.
Well, that's
I
why we
really
have
like-
the reverse pop buys where they come to the office.
That's true, so
You know, it's a lot more
Thanksgiving,
time effective too.
Thanksgiving, some people do a pie pickup.
Yeah, we do
And where they have to physically come get it, which is a great idea. I like it because it's my schedule, right? I get to drop it off on my time. Their whole family is there maybe. It gives me time to visit, it gives me time to go, oh, look what you've done to the house.
Yeah.
It just gives me a little bit more of an advantage that way instead of sitting somewhere for a couple hours and hoping they come in. The Santa thing though is one that they physically come to us. And then I do that personal marketing, which sends something every quarter too. So they're probably getting inundated with my face, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Anybody else?
Does anybody use personal marketing?
You did a little bit. didn't
Yeah,
you?
I send out a monthly.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty
newsletter.
inexpensive. It's kind of a set it and forget it.
Yeah, and then they have the ones for after you close, will go
Yeah.
out like 5
With
times.
their labels and all, yeah, that's the one that I do on every client, every buyer client. So they get a set of labels with their new address on it. And
Yeah,
then
it's
they
super.
get-
I mean, for what they send, it's
Yeah,
really.
I think it just went up in price, but it was $25
Yeah, it was
for
25
5 years.
forever.
Yeah, I
Or
think they
somewhere.
just went up to 35 or $40, but.
Right. Yeah, did any of you guys have any questions? Y'all good? Sure. Thank you guys so much. It was funny though, that
So what did you think? Did you enjoy it? Did you find things that you're gonna put into your business today? Start today, don't wait. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch our top producer panel. So excited to get that info over to you guys. Hey, by the way, if there were any questions you had along the way or anything you want more information on, I know Tanya mentioned a video. If you would like access to that, please reach out to me. I would love to extend that all to you. My direct line is 405-659-4058. Again, you have been watching Real Talk. Hit subscribe, hit follow, hit like wherever you are. Leave some questions, leave some comments. We just want to hear from you. Thanks again for joining. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Have a great year. And we'll see you all next time. Bye.